All right, we have a brand new release from the house of Frederic Malle. This is a fragrance created by Jean-Claude Ellena. It's called Heaven Can Wait. This one right here. It comes almost a year after the last release from this house created by Maurice Roussel called Uncut Gem. And today I'm going to talk to you about Heaven Can Wait. What do I think about it? How does it smell? How does it perform? And I'm also going to do a rank list of 5 of the last Frederic Malle fragrances from my least favorite to my most favorite. So if you're curious to learn about Heaven Can Wait and also discover some of the previous Frederic Malle fragrance releases, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about Frederic Malle. The latest release is Heaven Can Wait. This is it right here. So when I first heard about this name, I thought to myself, this sounds like a Bikilian fragrance. I don't know where this name comes from. Also is the name of a movie from the 70s with Warren Beatty. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it, from the late 70s. But this is a fragrance created by Jean-Claude Ellena, one of my favorite perfumers. I really enjoyed what he did over at Hermes in the 2000s on to the mid 2010s. And so now he's doing fragrances for various other brands. Of course, this is, I think, his 5th fragrance for Frederic Malle. He's creating fragrances for Houbigant. He's creating fragrances for Laboratorio Olfativo, and then also Paris Monte Carlo. I think these are the only houses I think he's doing fragrances for, although he's doing fragrances for Lucia and Ferrero fragrances as well. And I got to meet Jean-Claude Ellena earlier this year in April of 2023, and we got to shoot a couple of photos together, and he signed or autographed my bottle of Van Cleef & Arpels fragrance first. So this is, it's now making its way out, and I was given the opportunity to buy this, but it's not officially launched yet. It's launching within the next couple of days, I was told. And I can't reveal my source because my sales associate can get into trouble. But I am talking about Heaven Can Wait here for you. A new perfume by Frederic Malle, created by Jean-Claude Ellena. It's retailing for 100 ml for $395. It's Eau de Parfum concentration, and it's considered a woody floral. I guess it's very woody. It's very floral as well. And then also it's very, very musky. Prices here are definitely a lot more than the prices in France. I bought the last bottle. It had just launched in France, Uncut Gem. And it was about 100... Well, I bought it for around 300 euros, which is a lot less than what this fragrance is. So most likely Heaven Can Wait is around that same price point if you were to buy this in Europe. So it's a little less there. It's very pricey here. This fragrance is uber expensive, and I don't think it's worth the price point, just like the last fragrance. It needs to be somewhere in a bottle of around $150 to $250. $400 for this thing is way too expensive, and I'm going to explain to you in a little bit why I think this. So the notes for this fragrance are musk, iris, carrot seeds, cloves, ambrette, magnolia, plums, pimento seeds, vetiver, vanilla, and peach. So this fragrance, to me, is definitely the kind of fragrance that Jean-Claude Ellena makes. In fact, it's so powdery, it kind of lightly hints at his creation L'Eau de Vie in a different way. They're smelling different completely, but they kind of act similarly to me. When you first spray the fragrance, I instantly noticed the muskiness and also the ambrette seeds. The ambrette seeds has these really unique characteristics. It's definitely a musky note that they use. It's from a hibiscus flower, and it's really prominent here. And I noticed that it gives off a bit of fruitiness and also light booziness here, for sure. This is the first thing I noticed. And then I also noticed with Ambrette, it's powdery. For sure, this is a very powdery release. And also light vegetal touch. But the fragrance is very, very vegetal to me. And it has the addition of the carrot seeds. So the carrot seeds and the Ambrette not only create the powdery effect, gives you the vegetal touch with this fragrance. To me, it's almost like warm spices with cold vegetal powdery notes in here. The reason I'm saying it's like that, because there's a major component of cloves here, and this is what drew me in with this fragrance. Not only am I getting the ambrette, I love ambrette in fragrances, I love the powdery, accords that ambrette seeds makes, creates in fragrances, along with that, fruitiness and booziness. But it's the cloves that really won me over here. It gives me this kind of warmth and kind of cozy feeling, and the idea of the holidays. For me, the cloves in here also reminds me a little bit of carnation. I feel like when I'm wearing it, I'm smelling carnation, because it's the kind of cloves it is. I'm used to cloves. I drink it in tea, boiled with black tea. So I know the smell. It's spicy here, but there's that kind of clove reminder with carnation. The idea of the cloves in this fragrance also kind of reminds me of the idea of the clove gums. Remember those vintage classic gums? The smell is kind of similar, which, again, the clove note is what drew me in with this fragrance, and I liked it. It's that warm hug kind of a feeling, very, very comforting, and just that kind of like a very soothing reminder of something very, very warm and cozy happening at home. It's just what it did to me. And I love cloves and fragrances to begin with, and this created that kind of holiday-ish vibe for sure. But, along the way, you're experiencing some other spices. As I said, it does get fruity, and it's not only from the light fruitiness that we're getting from the ambrette, but there is a little plum note in here as well, and then even a faint peach note. And these fruits are sort of kind of non-distinct, but you definitely notice there is a fruitiness here. So in the end, I like this. It dries down to woods. It's kind of grassy vetiver and some other notes together to create this kind of woodiness. But for me, this fragrance does not last. This is the bummer part about this fragrance. It has zero longevity on me, and that's the most disappointing part about this fragrance. Well, really big disappointing part, because I'm used to fragrances from Frederic Malle to be these beastly things. Not all, some of them, most of them. I mean, when I was very new at reviewing fragrances and really new at digging into the niche fragrances, I went into a Barney store to buy a bottle of Nasomato's Black Afghano. And there I was shown Portrait of a Lady like in 2012, like over 10 years ago. And Portrait of a Lady had just launched like 2 years prior. And it was the first time I had smelled. That was a showstopper. That was a fragrance that really won me over instantly. This one, it did. I can tell when I first smelled it that it was going to be a soft fragrance. I could tell the powderiness in here is soft. There's a very ethereal quality about it. This one, airy, almost like powder floating, because it's very powdery. And it's just kind of disappears off of me. It does not linger on me whatsoever. And I am so disappointed about that part. Really, really disappointed. But as a smell, I like it. I like the contrasts once again. The vegetal touches is creating this kind of coldness, not necessarily very warm. And then you've got that warm clove note in here, kind of reminding me of those gums. I believe there's also some clove cigarettes, but it's mostly reminding me of the gums and also kind of carnation-like smell. I like it. I love the idea of this. I love the creations of Jean-Claude Ellena, but it absolutely is a very dismal performance on me. Now, this in comparison to Uncut Gem, I enjoy the smell of this one a lot more than Uncut Gem. Uncut Gem was a complete disappointment for me. It was a very boring smell. I said in that review, it's a fragrance that kind of belongs in a bottle of Hermes or Cartier. Here, I find something much more unique. I do experience fragrances like this from the brand Frederic Malle, but it's just very, very weak. It doesn't last on me. And the price point for this is outrageous. $395 is really, really uber expensive. Really uber expensive. I mean, I was willing to pay for it. I bought it. I like Jean-Claude Ellena. I love Frederic Malle. I love this kind of fragrance. I love the idea of the ambrette. Ambrette seeds are some of my favorite musky notes. I absolutely love them because they smell very unique to me. It's a kind of an addicting smell. And the cloves against it was just kind of a match made in heaven. But since I've been wearing it, it's just been a disappointment. I keep having to spray it, and so it lasts because I like that combination. but it just didn't last on me, unfortunately. So I haven't tried any remedies for this situation. I haven't added any kind of boosters or enhancers or anything. But this part about this fragrance is a major disappointment. So unfortunately, I'm disappointed with this release, but I'm sure people are going to find this to be great. It's the kind of fragrance it is. If you know what you're going into when you're going to buy this fragrance, you know it's a skin scent, then you'll be very happy with it and satisfied. I knew that it was going to be in that situation, but I thought it would have better longevity. I don't mind skin scents, but skin scents are skin scents. They're going to be very close to you. They're not going to project and things like that. But the fact that it didn't last long on me was even a further disappointment, which means if I have to reapply constantly, then I'm kind of going down the juice quite fast. As you can see, I'm overspraying this to begin with, overspraying it because it doesn't perform, and so it's going down really fast, going down so fast. A $400 bottle of juice is kind of gone in what, 3 months? that's really disappointing. So I think if this fragrance was launched in a $200 less, let's say like $195 or $200 or whatever, $199, $205 or something, I wouldn't be as disappointed. But since I paid $400 for this, and I'm quite disappointed with that. Much disappointed. But as I was saying, I think this is going to find an audience, and it's Frederic Malle. There are the major fans out there of Frederic Malle fragrances, and they're probably going to be satisfied with it. And also, I think anyone that's into those kind of closer to the skin fragrances, things like that, are going to appreciate this. But for me, this is kind of a disappointment as far as performance goes. And generally, I don't talk about performance, and you guys complain that I don't. Performance is different on different people. I am doing it here. I'm disappointed at this. It doesn't last on me. It's very close to the skin. And somebody will come and say, no, that fragrance lasts a day on me, and it's the loudest fragrance. So that's generally why I don't. But here I'm very, very disappointed with this one because it's very, very disappointing performance with it on me. So here are my thoughts about Heaven Can Wait from the House of Frederic Malle. Have you gotten your nose on that one yet? Do you enjoy it? Do you like it? Are you interested in checking it out? Do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. The last couple of releases were not necessarily showstoppers, and I'm hoping the next release from Frederic Malle will be something really big and in your face, because those are the kind of fragrances I like. There's nothing wrong with fragrances like this that are close to the skin, but if I knew I was going into that, I would appreciate it. And also the fact that I paid $400, I wanted this thing to perform much more beastlier than it is on me now. Anyway, let's talk about the ranked list. So we're going back to 2019 with the 5 releases. So we've got Uncut Gem from last year. We have Synthetic Jungle from the year before. And I believe they didn't launch anything in 2020. Then we had 2 releases in 2019. We had The Moon and also Rose and CUIR. And then, of course, we have now Heaven Can Wait. And at number 5, this is a ranked list, we are starting off with Uncut Gem. So Uncut Gem to me is the biggest disappointment out of all the releases. It's one of the most boring fragrances that I paid 300 plus euros for. I believe it was 305 euros. As I said, this is a designer-esque fragrance, and I think it would be perfect if it was something around $150. Because signature lime fragrances are going up to that price now. That would have been fine. It's $400 here in the States. I think it's $395. Same price as Heaven Can Wait. I think it does not belong there. But for me, this is kind of aromatic, woody, spicy, and has some light smokiness. And also it has some ambery touches and muskiness. I think it's musky because Maurice Roussel has done 2 other fragrances, Dante Bras and Musk Ravageur. Musk Ravageur, amazing. Dante Bras is even amazing. This one, it falls flat completely, and it doesn't belong in this collection whatsoever. Sure, it can belong in the collection, but don't charge that price point for this fragrance. So this one is ranked really, really low. I'm putting it at number 5. I don't care for this one much. So this is Uncut Gem at number 5. And then at number 4, it is the latest release. It's Heaven Can Wait. Heaven Can Wait, I do enjoy the smell much more than the other fragrance that I just spoke about, Uncut Gem. but I just wish it was beefier, lasted longer. Sure, I think they're going for a skin scent here. They're going for this kind of a fragrance, but for me, I don't think it's worth that price point. It just really isn't. So that's why I'm ranking Heaven Can Wait here. But if you don't remember the notes that are in here, there's musk, there's iris, there's carrot seeds, cloves, ambrette, magnolia, plums, pimento, vetiver, vanilla, peach. So you have lots of ambrette, you have the iris, carrot seeds combo of powdery touches, and then the cloves for this kind of warmth that's thrown in there. That reminds me of carnation and a little bit of that clove gum that was so popular back in the old days. It smells great. I just wish it performed better. But either way, at number 4, it's Heaven Can Wait. And then at number 3, another Jean-Claude Ellena release, this time going back to 2019. This is Rose and CUIR, this one right here. So this was almost going head-to-head with number 2, and I'll tell you what number 2 is here in a minute. But I really enjoy this one a lot more than Heaven Can Wait. It also has the performance that I enjoy, and it's definitely the kind of signature touch that Jean-Claude Ellena is known for. He's known for something like this. He's also known for fragrances like Heaven Can Wait. But this fragrance is rose created from the geranium note, because geranium has a bit of a rosiness. It's also very kind of aromatic and herbal, so it creates that kind of a rose accord in here, so it has that kind of light reminder of it. But for me, the fragrance also has a lot of vegetal touches, green stemmy touches. So if you know the idea of the smell of the stems of the rose, you'll kind of get that. But eventually this creates kind of a leatheriness, and there's a kind of a leather accord in here as well. But it's not your leather fragrance like, let's say, Coeur de Russie from Chanel. It's not like that. This is more of a, I should say, vegetal leather. So it has loads of vegetal touches for me, because there's this very green stemminess, and eventually you've got that kind of leather that dries down to kind of a leather woodiness in the dry down. So this is really, really great in comparison to Heaven Can Wait, and I enjoy both smells, but Rose and CUIR lasts a lot longer on me in comparison to Heaven Can Wait. So Rose and CUIR is at number 3. And for me, this was kind of a toss-up, but I much prefer this at number 2, Synthetic Jungle, created by Anne Flippo, in comparison to Rose and CUIR. They're kind of greenish fragrances, but Synthetic Jungle goes a lot more green, and it also has, like, taking that vegetal touch that I was saying was in Rose and CUIR and amplifying it, but it's more lush to me, not dry like the last one. And I like that kind of lush jungle humidity that's captured in here with the different notes. That makes for a really, really great smelling fragrance. In fact, I was just speaking about this fragrance to someone who's just discovered Galbanum in person, and they were obsessed with finding Galbanum fragrances, and they hadn't heard about this one, so I recommended it. But I absolutely love it. It's bitter green with Galbanum. There's basil, there's blackcurrant, oak moss, patchouli, hyacinth, lily of the valley, almonds, and ylang-ylang. So there's definitely that humid idea. If you've ever gone to an arboretum and there's like this humid feeling in there because it's warm, it's supposed to emulate the idea of the jungle where there's like lush greenery growing. To me, that's the experience I get with this one. Although it's very fresh wear, there's no warmth here, but because we're putting on the green notes on ourselves. But I would envision these greenery, the growth, the jungle trees and everything being and growing in something very tropical and very humid. So the idea is humid, but it wears fresh. It could also kind of remind you a little bit of Lambert L'Eau from the House of Diptyque, but this is a lot more amplified. And for me, this against Rose and CUIR, this one has great performance. Really love it, and I love the idea of it. And when you're wearing it, you can also have this idea of green spring kind of a smell. So it's a really, really great fragrance. Really love it. I think that Anne Flippo has done a great job with this one. This is probably one of my favorite fragrances of hers. She does really great things with white flowers. And even though this has white and green floral notes in here, I think it's more green floral notes. Lily of the Valley and Hyacinth are both green, kind of a greenish accord. Ylang-Ylang is a little more yellow tropical floral note. But this is a fantastic fragrance. It's at number 2 because I really love it. I think it's a great smell and enjoyable. So it's Synthetic Jungle at number 2. Can you guess my number 1? So the Moon is my number 1 favorite fragrance from the last 5 years. Well, I shouldn't say last 5 years. The last 5 releases, because the Moon and Rose and CUIR came out in 2019. And then Synthetic Jungle came out in 2021. Remember, 2020 was the year the pandemic started. I don't think a lot of people were releasing things. And then Uncut Gem was last year in 2022. Heaven Can Wait this year in 2023. The Moon is so good, guys. My favorite fragrance created by Julien Rasquinet. As you can see his name right there. He did a great job on this one. Absolutely love the way the fragrance wears. It's my favorite Desert Gems collection fragrance. And then followed by The Night. Those two I really enjoyed. The Night is kind of animalic and very kind of oody and kind of, funk. There's a little bit of funk in there. But this fragrance, the oud, is so tolerable and so wearable. There's fruits in here. There's leathery touches from saffron, some frankincense smokiness, and then, of course, the Turkish rose, oud and leather together. It's an intoxicating combo. In fact, this is my second bottle. Can you guys believe I've gone through? I actually ended up with a 50 ml I had ordered from the UK during the pandemic from Harrods after they had the sale, and I bought it, and I just love that fragrance. And I had to buy another bottle. I stopped wearing it since I've got the second bottle, but this is such a great fragrance. Again, really wonderful offering. The fruits, the smoke, the leather, the rose, the oud together. Fantastic combo, and it deserves to be the #1 release from the last 5 Frederic Malle releases. I know that's a lot more expensive, and I don't even know what the price is, because when that first came out, it was around $700, so probably it's jacked up now. Because I hear that The Night is now over $2,000. So yeah, very pricey fragrances. And if Heaven Can Wait is $400, no wonder these are going up in price. But anyway, those are my thoughts on these fragrances. And again, I'm so disappointed at the performance with the Heaven Can Wait. At least on me, it doesn't perform. Again, as I said, someone might come and tell me it performs beastly on them, and I can't control that. But on me, it's performing really bad. It just doesn't have any longevity. Every time I've worn it, it just disappears quite a bit. It just doesn't have that smell and intensity. And I like my fragrances to last, and I want the trail. There's no trail with this one whatsoever, and I like the trail, and I just couldn't get any trail going with this one. So it's a sad thing, but either way, I like the smell, so now I have it. That's my thoughts on Heaven Can Wait. If you have any thoughts as well, put a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about Heaven Can Wait? What do you think about these last 5 fragrances from Frederic Malle? How would you rank the 5? Have you sampled all of these? You might be able to, rank them. I think this is all they released, because I have every single one of them. I don't think they released anything else from within the last 5 releases. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. Well, I wanted to quickly let you know that I am not lying about that second bottle of the Moon, because I did wear one whole 50 ml. Here it is. I bought that in 2020. I couldn't find it anywhere, and Harrods was shipping, so I ordered it from there. And I was in heaven when I was wearing this fragrance. But I've gone through that, and ever since I've gone through that, I have, I wear a lot of different fragrances. I've put this one off and put it away, but most likely I'll come back to it. But this is like one of the best releases from Frederic Malle, and Julien Rasquinet did such an amazing job on that fragrance. I'm absolutely head over heels for it. And if I ever did a video on his creations, most likely that will end up at #1. Most likely. We'll see. Thanks so much for watching.